I welcome you all to day 5 of Java Basics. So we'll start from where we leave yesterday. So we seen until uh, this keyword in Java, right? So I'll be continuing with the real OOPS concept. If you go search in Google for the OOPS concept, you will be getting these four: inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism. So first we'll be seeing the inheritance concept today. Okay, so please understand the topic. The things that you are going to use inside will be whatever you have learned. You will be declaring variable, you will be writing methods. Just understand the concept, like how two classes are going to interact, and what will be the relation between the two. Okay, that is what important in understanding the inheritance. Okay, so as I said, inheritance is one of the key feature of object oriented programming. So what it does is it will allow to inherit one property of a class from other. Okay, which means uh, how to tell you the way, like how you will be inheriting the property that your parents or your grandparents own. So that is how the property of one class, the parent class or super class, however you can call it, the super class will be passed on over to the subclass. Okay, so how we should create some relation, right? So you have to create some relation between two classes to link it, right? This is the parent, this is the child class, like that. You should have some way to tell the Java. So that is where the keyword extends comes into play. So whenever your superclass will be normal, like however you write the normal classes class and the class name, that it will be normal, and your subclass will be like the class name. For example, let me name the child class as subclass. So subclass space the keyword extends, and then which class it is going to extend. So like what is the parent class. Okay, so let us consider superclass is the parent class that I'm telling you. So it will be like subclass extends superclass. So in this way, you are telling your program like this subclass will inherit all the properties from the superclass. Okay. So as we have seen some access modifiers in yesterday's class, do you remember? Public, private, protected, default. So in the same way, we have the protected keyword, which is applicable for the how to tell you, inside the members. Okay, how will these access modifier affect in the class? Okay, I have shown you some relationship like a flow diagram yesterday. So that is what the same is shown in the tabular column here. Why I'm giving you this access modifiers again and again is because when you mention this access modifier in front of any of the member of your class, then that will play the major role in accessing, and where you are restricting, or what are the variables that you are giving, to every visible to every element of the Java program. So that is very important for you to handle, handle your data. So you'll have, sometimes you will have some serious data. So in that case, you should be very careful that you should be giving a private. In some cases you need it protected, because only your child class, the for example, if you are submitting some form, so you need the who give the feedback, you need the feedback, the one who gives the feedback name only. You should sorry expose that feedback giver name only to particular place. Okay, you cannot keep it openly visible, then you'll not get a proper you know a good feedback. Only so system should know who is the one who is giving feedback, but not everyone. Okay, not, it should not be gone public. You understand? So that is the concept. So in real world we have all these concepts, so for every data that goes in and out of the system also have this kind of restrictions, which can go public and which should go private, which should stay private, right? So this is what, if it is public, no, it can be accessed all over the world. Okay, wherever it is you can access it. So if it is private, so it is only accessible inside the class. If it is private, so that class and the package which it is present, so package will be learning it in intermediate or advanced Java or whatever the next. Okay, so and one more thing is that if it is if the member is marked as protected, the subclass can also use it. Okay, understood? So the next we have the, okay, before that, okay, I'll tell you this and I'll show you the example later. So we have one concept called method overriding. So we yesterday saw one concept called method overloading, right? So we have the same method name, but we have passed different parameters inside it. You, do you remember the term parameters, arguments that we learned yesterday? So the name of the method will be same, but we will be giving different arguments, and based on it, the behavior of the method will differ. So now we have some one more concept called method overriding. So what method overriding is? See, we have one class, animal class, and we have a method eat and sleep in it. Okay, so this is simple, a normal class. So we are extending this class. Okay, what it means, I have told you, right? So class dog is the new subclass. Okay, we call, maybe you can whichever is comfortable to you, you can have that relation, either parent child relation or super sub. Okay, whichever is comfortable, you can follow it. Okay, so the child class will have we are naming it as dog, and it extends the parent class. What is the parent class name? Animal. Okay, what it sorry. So what happens is we are trying to override this eat method. Okay, this eat method inside the child class. Okay, eat method is also available inside the parent, but we are trying to override it inside the dog. Okay, I mean the child. So what we are doing is, here we are simply changing the system that the print, only the value we are changing. Here we are writing as I can eat, I can sorry, I eat dog food. Okay, just the value inside the print statement we are changing here. Okay, so I'm trying to, and one we have one more method, that is bark, inside the parent, sorry, inside the child. Okay, and one more thing is, you can access all the the variable, the method inside the parent class to the child class, but not the other way. If it is given inside the child, it can be accessed only by the child and not by the parent. Understood? So obviously our parents earn and they will give us, but we are like, no, the inheritance will not work in the the opposite order, right? We are getting their property, and whatever you own is what you own. Either you'll be passing down to your children or your grandchildren, but not on the opposite way, right? Okay, maybe someone can, but just how the system normally works is, okay, that is the same way. So whatever inside the parent class, you can get it in the child class. If it is a new method you are writing inside the child class, that cannot be used in a parent. Okay, hope you are clear with this. So we'll see the exact over Java method overriding. So overriding is this. For this two method, there is no change. If you just see the method name, it is same. when you are going to call also the same, like you will not know which method you are calling, right? So how it works is, in the main, you are creating a object for your child class. You understood? What is the dog? Dog is the child class. So you are creating one object for the child class, and you are calling the uh, eat method inside your child class. Understood? So you are calling dog1 dot eat and dog1 dot sleep. So do you have any sleep method here? No, right? But you are calling that, but you have to check that whether that method or variable is available in your parent. Yes, it is available. So this sleep will be called over here. So next is dog1 dot bark. So I'm calling the method that is inside the child. So what will be the output is I eat dog food. Why we get this I eat dog food is because we have overridden this method, this eat method value with our user defined, whatever you need. You have changed the input for this print statement. So you are getting only this. Okay, if in case you haven't changed any, if you haven't even mentioned this method inside and you are calling dog1 dot eat, means it will print this I can eat. Am I clear? So now you can access the data inside the child class and also the method that is inside your parent class, and we have this as output. Okay, so this is the simple inheritance example. Also I have shown you the method overriding concept here. Okay, so we have seen two things. So next thing is we have some types of inheritance. Okay, so what it is first is single inheritance. So what we see in example now, right, that is single inheritance. So let us say A is the parent class and B is the child class. So B can access whatever the variables or methods available in A. You understand? We have the arrow mark only in one direction, while A cannot access whatever there in B. Okay. So B is going and it will access the things inside A. That is simple relation. Okay. Nothing to get complex. So if your class is extending only one class, okay, like your class dog extends animal, you don't have anything extra over here, right? You have only one parent class and you are extending it, then this is called single inheritance. Okay. So next is the multi-level inheritance. So what is multi-level inheritance is? This is also simple. We see parent, child. This is grandparents, parents, and child. That is what. So if A is your grandparent, considered, the super class or grandparent, whatever is comfortable to you. So A has method A, B, C. Okay, three methods it has, and this three methods can be accessed by B. This three methods is accessible by C as well. Okay, understood? And consider we have three methods 1, 2, 3. Okay, so inside B, so this 1, 2, 3 method is accessible by C. So C can access whatever the value inside A as well as it can access the value inside B. Whereas B can access the value only inside A, and also the whatever the method which is inside B, it can share with C. Okay. So next is the hierarchical inheritance. So what is the hierarchical inheritance? Um, consider your parents have three children. So obviously it will go to one by one, right? So as I have given here refers to it. So consider we have here we have only one class dog. like imagine you are creating one more class as a cat. Okay, so that will also extend animal. So one more cat, a lion or tiger, whatever, so that will also extends animal. So it means like it is hierarchical inheritance. Okay. So same class A is inherited inside multiple child classes. Am I clear? Give me a second. Okay, so we have multiple inheritance next. So multiple inheritance is nothing but you have consider you have a class A and class B. Okay, so like your mom is having some property, your dad is having some property, and you are able to access the property from both the people. Okay, this concept is directly not available in Java. Okay, like this accessing the property of class A and class B is not available in Java now, but we will be seeing one concept as interface. With use of interface we will be achieving this multiple inheritance. Okay, like this extends keyword you cannot use and achieve this multiple inheritance. Understood? So next is the hybrid inheritance. Hybrid inheritance, it does not have any, the given structure like hierarchical or multi-level or anything. So it is just the combination of any one or any two. Okay, if you have, multiple multi-level inheritance, you have understood, right? A, B, C. For example, here we have a one more level. Consider B has one more level like E or something. So this A, B, and E. Uh, I'm sorry, I didn't get the flow chart. It's my mistake, but please try to understand what I'm telling you. So A, B, below this B, consider you have one more block as E. So if you see only this flow, it will look like an multi-level inheritance. Okay, what I said, like like grandparents, parents, and child, that kind of inheritance. And if you see here, this looks like single inheritance, right? So it is like combination of multi-level and a single or hierarchical, whatever. So it is combination of more than one type of inheritance, so that we call it as hybrid inheritance. Okay, so we'll see some basic examples of inheritance. I don't want to bore you with very long. So wait a minute. Stop. Okay. Okay, this is the snippet that I have shown you in the slide. So instead of animal, I just changed the classes inheritance. Okay, just imagine the animal is here. So what we did is we have overridden this method, right? I have not overridden, I have just simply shown you. Okay, so this parent class has eat and sleep, and the child class has only the bark. So see, we have used the keyword extends and then the name of the parent class, and I'm creating an object for this dog here. So dog, this is the object I have created, and I'm calling dog eat and then sleep and bark. So obviously we have only bark inside this set of code. So eat and sleep comes from the parent. Okay, I can eat, I can sleep. Okay, that is what is getting printed. Okay, in real world when it will be applied is, consider you have some feedback. For example, we are taking feedback submission example. You will have some repetitive data that you want to collect, right? Your mail id, your phone number, or which place you are uh, you are giving the feedback from, or if you are collecting the feedback for some courses, obviously the course name. So those things will be repetitive, so you can write it in a class, and whatever be the form that you are creating, you can inherit it at that place. Okay, you have many users, just I'm helping you uh, uh, to relate with the real world instead of animals. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just searching the code because this one I have prepared for the yesterday's class, but we were not able to continue. So bear with me. So yes, we have one class as animal, and we have type as protected. Okay, the access modifier is protected here, and we have the color private, and we have some many methods as usual, the normal methods. And what I'm trying to do here is, okay, so I have a child class here, a class called line, and I'm extending the animal over here, and I'm creating some method for this child class. Okay, this display info is for the child class. So here what I'm trying to print is I am a plus type. So obviously this type variable is not present inside the class. I mean the it is not inside the line class, so it will go and check in the animal. So yes, it is available in animal, and it is declared as protected. So if it is protected, which means this variable can be accessed by the child also, right? Do you remember? So we get this, and okay, and we are printing this. My color is C. I think C is not present. I have to give color, I guess. Okay, let us see what it happens. Okay, and then we have one more block called roar. Okay, so I have just called the child class here, create an object, called all this values. Okay, so what happens here is when I call line eat sleep roar. So let us see if we have all those. We don't have eat sleep. So eat sleep is taken from the parent. Okay. So roar is taken from the line class itself. So let us see the next line. So with the child class object, I'm calling the parents type variable. Okay. For this variable, I'm setting the value as mammal. Okay, and I'm calling the set color. Set color is also available inside the parent, so I'm calling this. So for this method, it is declared public, so obviously I can call it from anywhere, right? So sorry, set color I have called, right? So for set color, I have called, and we are setting the value as orange, and what we are doing is we are calling the display info. So display info is available inside the child class itself. Okay, so here we are printing the value that I have set. So what I have set the value for the color, I have set as orange. So when I get that value, I'm getting the color is orange and it is getting printed here. Okay, and the type that we have mentioned as protected, we are able to use it here. Okay, let us try changing it to private. See, obviously we are getting a red line, an error. Okay, it is a private property. Understood? So if it is private, I can use only inside this animal class. So I'll just comment this code and we'll see the one. So this is what I have explained you already, right? We are overriding this E. I'll just run and show you here. Okay, I'm getting error because we have one more class dog here. Okay, I'll just comment this now for now. I think somewhere I have given the same name, so it is telling me to change it. So okay, I don't want to waste time in this. Actually, I've explained you this already in the PPT. I hope you understand. So this error is I'm getting because inside this some class I have already declared a dog. Somewhere it is active actually. If I want to find, I don't know where it is, to be very frank. Okay, so this set of code is nothing but what we explained for this method overriding. So in the same eat we have changed the input for the print element, right? So this is what I have just worked out over here. We'll see the next topic. So next comes Java Super. Okay, what does Java Super means? We have an super keyword because with the super they have given super keyword because you can access the super class property with this keyword. To be very to understand very simple. Okay, the parent class property you can access it with the super keyword. Okay, so as we see we have overwritten the where is that example? Yeah, we have overwritten this eat in the child class, right? Inside the doc we have overwritten. When we try to when we try to access this method, obviously it got printed I eat dog food. Only we are getting what is overwritten, only this we are getting. In case if I want to get what is the real, what is the functionality that is available in the parent class, if I need it, I have two option. Either I have to create one more object of the parent class and I can access. If I access that way, I will get I can eat. Okay, but I don't want to create, I just want to call it directly. Okay, I don't maybe here we have only 3 items inside this. Consider we have many items inside the uh, parent class. Just to access one method, creating the object and keeping it alive till the end of the end of the program, it is waste. So in that case we have this super keyword. Okay, so how to use that is, just if you use super and two brackets, it will like automatically invoke the the super class constructor. Okay, but in case if you use super dot any of the members present inside the parent, then you can access it. Understood? So that is what we have given here. See, if the method with the same name are identified in both superclass and subclass, the method subclass has be overrides a method. So maybe I have one example for it, I guess. I'll show you that. Okay, better I'll try here itself. I'll just change and tell you. Okay. Okay, and we are calling this inheritance. Here, what will happen if I we have overwritten, so the print value what I have given is available here. So how to access? So I'll just call super dot eat. You cannot call it in the main method without creating an object. So what I'll do is I'll try. Okay, let us print it here. I'll just call it here. Inside the child class, I'm calling the parents eat. Okay, so let us see how the output changes. So can you see? So whatever available in the parents eat method is printed, and then since we have called the eat method inside the child, so this value is printed, so and so on, the same. Okay, what sleep and bark is printed respectively. Okay, so in this way you can call what if in case we have some variable, any boolean or whatever string, or if you have any some other object or whatever you have inside the parent class, you can access it using the super keyword. Okay, so this is one example. So yes, this is just a simple pictorial representation. Okay, you can refer it later. So yes, we have data abstraction. So one more important topic is a data abstraction, you can call it as like a covering up of data or hiding data. You know, whenever you hear like hiding some information in Java, then what it means is literally the word data abstraction. The, you know, the in Java dictionary, they call it as data abstraction. The reason is, like, I have given a simple example here. So every vehicle has brakes. Okay, we know if you pull the brake, the vehicle will stop. We know that, but we doesn't know what is the interior work that is happening inside that method. Right? It differs from vehicle to vehicle. So for cycle, it is different. For bikes, it is different. For car, it is different. For automatic, automatic vehicles, it is different. For if it is an aeroplane, that is going to be in a different way. But at the end of the day, if it is brake, it is going to do only a common work, that it is going to stop the vehicle. All right. So to avoid, the complexity, what Java, so see this in Java term. So we have some common functions. Okay. For example, let us consider, some a calculator you are writing, some scientific calculator program you are writing. So there you are calculating some sine value, cosine value. You have some integral differential calculus. So what they are doing is they are just showing your sine, cosine at the top. Right? All other calculation happens behind. So in what way they are, the interior calculation is hidden from you and shown as only as a sign, calculate sign for this. Right? So the same way, what Java does is it will show you only the higher level of information and it will hide whatever is happening inside. Okay. So that is called uh, abstraction. So what they will do is you can create both abstract class and abstract method. So to do that, uh, people don't read what I have given now. Just look into the snippet. Okay. So here we have abstract class animal. So if you add this abstract keyword in front of a class, then it means this class has become abstract. Okay. Understood? So it is going to, it is going to give you only high level information, this particular class. Okay. So we can also create abstract methods. Okay. So you can create abstract method, and also you can create okay, let me come one by one. Okay, you can create abstract methods. So to create an abstract method, you have to add the same abstract keyword in front. Okay. And if you have to add any abstract method into a class, it has to be abstract class. If you don't give abstract in front of it, and if you are creating a normal, just a class animal, and if you are trying to add one abstract method into it, Java will not accept. So if you are planning to create any abstract method, then obviously you have to make the class also abstract. Understood? So what is next is the abstract class can contain both normal method and abstract method. Okay, it can has both. The normal method what we write is a public static void, or just public public void, or public int, or private, whatever the normal access modifier method so far we have learned, right? So any method you can add inside it. And one more thing is, you cannot create object for the abstract class. Okay, you cannot instantiate it. Okay, so but you can extend it. I think someone has raised hand. Please, have your doubt. Maybe if time permits, we'll have our question session, and you can comment your question there. Okay. So, where I have left, yes. So your abstract class, you cannot create object to it, but on the other hand, you can extend it like the any normal class. Okay. So here you can see, even though the animal is the abstract class, you can extend it with the class dog. So this is the child and this is the abstract parent class. Okay, here what we are doing, we are accessing the abstract method. Okay, this make sound method. S- So we are getting this make sound method and we are doing whatever the function we need inside the child class. And one more thing is, you cannot add any body to the abstract class where you are, declaring it. So abstract void makes on, if you are declaring an abstract class inside a abstract method inside a class, in the place where you are declaring this method, you cannot add a body to it, which means you cannot add any function to this abstract class. Okay. So what? So you may think this make sound class is waste. So it is not waste. How you have to access it is you have to extend this animal class, and inside your child, okay, whatever the class you are that is extending this animal. So here you have to change the function. Okay, since it is dog, just they have added like a bark. Okay, so they have one more class like cat. So in make sound they have given mews. Okay, so this goes, like for example, you are calculating some area or perimeter or whatever it is. If you are doing that calculation for uh, calculating area is common. We know that it is going to calculate an area. For circle, it will be different. For rectangle, it is going to be different. Square, it is going to be different. For plane, we have many different shapes, right? We have even irregular shapes. So for everything, it is going to be different. So for all those calculation, we don't, we need a method, but we don't need those things to be deliberately available in the parent class. Okay, for all those shapes you can create different class or different you can inherit a different class, and then inside that uh, calculate area. You can give the appropriate formula for all those things, and you can calculate it inside that method. Understood? So sorry. So what happens is inside the main method, when you call the a class dog, and if you give this make sound, obviously this bark will print. And if you are creating object for this cat class, and if you give this make sound, this mews will be get printed. Okay. So today we have learned many concepts. uh, Please go through the concepts. Okay, writing a method, writing a class are same. So we have not learned any new syntax here. Okay, what we have learned is concepts, how the classes and how the methods are getting related. Okay, what we and we have learned the keyword extend, protected, and what else we have learned? Super, right? Abstract. So just recall these things. So here, so what is abstract? As I have told you, abstract, if you have given if you want to make any class or method abstract, just add the abstract keyword in front of it. So if you want the abstract method will not have an body. So the class containing the abstract, if you are going to add an abstract method into a class, then it should be abstract. And you cannot create an object to an abstract class. Okay, so these are some, whatever we have discussed, I've just added one or two. So in a simple 1 or 2 lines for you to recollect. Okay. So give me a moment. Let me have a sip of water, please. Sorry, I'm back. So I don't remember if I have any code snippet for this. Let me check. Yes. Okay, so so here we have an super example. So this class I have declared this as abstract. So I will try adding one more method. I have not added any abstract method here. Mm. So as I have told you, your abstract method should end like this. If in case I'm trying to add a parenthesis and I'm trying to write something, as soon as I have opened the code block, can you see your IDE will throw you an error. So which means the abstract class, wherever you are mentioning it, you cannot give body to it. Okay. So one more thing is, so if you have mentioned any class as abstract inside your parent class, you have to override it. It is must to override it in the subclass. Okay, sorry, I have not mentioned it previously. Please make note of it too. So if you have an abstract method here, then you have to override it here. Okay. The reason is, if you are making something abstract, obviously since it is mandatory, and since it is being used in many places, that is the only reason you are making it an abstract, right? So that is the reason. So it is displaying only I am an animal. Okay, because I have not called this make sound there. I'll try calling it. So since we have make use of this, since I have called this method, we are getting this hello abstract. So if in case I'm having some more, like subclass 1, subclass 2, or any multiple classes, and I'm going to override my abstract class everywhere, then in that case you will be getting different output based on what is the process that you are doing inside your code block. Okay. Okay, next topic is interface. So here, so how to tell you? So interface is like giving you a set of rules. Okay, it is. I don't know how to put it in a normal word. Just give me a moment. Um, so if you are going to use this interface, so what is inheritance is like, if you are getting, you are inheriting the parent class, it is not must whether you use everything inside the class or not. But if you are going to inherit, sorry, if you are going to use the interface, so if you are going to extend the, not extend, you will be using one more keyword called implement. So if you are going to implement this polygon, implement the interface into your class, in that case you have to, it is a set of rules which that must be done. Okay, it is, you can relate it that way to make it simple. Okay, and one more thing is, this is the structure of interface. So you have to give the keyword interface, then next any, whatever the name, any meaningful name, then like class only we will be giving this curly braces, and inside the curly braces you can write the method, or you can write whatever, the a variable. So the variable that you are mentioning inside the polygon will always be public. It should be static final, which means it cannot change. Okay, and also the visibility will be public. Okay, for either for method or for variable, or any member that goes inside the interface, the visibility will be public. So that is why, as I have said, the accessibility will be public. You can rewrite it as like, without public you can write the method. And I told you the variables will be static final. So yesterday I have told you, right, what is static. So if it is static, you don't need to create an object and call it, right? Do you remember? And if it is given final, the value cannot change. Okay, so since it is default, it is going to be, if you are giving an interface, either you mention this upfront, that public static final, or if you don't mention, mention also, this is the property that Java is going to take. So to keep it simple, if you want to create any variable inside your interface, you can simply give the data type, the variable name, and the the value to it. And if you are creating any method, you can just give the return type and the method. Okay, so this is just a structure. Okay, so here you can see, like abstract class, we cannot create object for the interface also. Okay, so for interfaces also you cannot create object. And so sorry, what is the next thing is, if you want to inherit the properties of parent class, what we will do, we will be using an extend keyword, right? Do you remember? So if you want to access the property of this interface, you need to use the keyword implements. Understood? So the syntax will be the same. So instead of the class, you will be writing interface, and then instead of the class name, we will call it as interface name here. Okay. So instead of class, keyword, you will be adding interface. Then any meaningful name you will be keeping. Then you will have a method inside. Okay. So here also, like abstract method, we will not be having body to it. Okay, we just have the declaration here. Understood? Yes, we have seen the abstract method in the previous slide, right? You will not have the body inside the interface. I mean, inside the interface also. So next is the one more class you are creating as rectangle, the child class, and you are implementing this polygon to it. It is similar to extend. You are going to just use all the property inside the polygon, but since it is interface, we are using a different keyword here. Okay, so class rectangle implements polygon, and what happens is here we are going to, as we seen in the abstract class, what we did, the abstract method inside the abstract class should be overridden in the child class, right? So the same concept, you are going to override the get area method inside the polygon also. So what you are doing here, so length and breadth you have, so you are just multiplying it and you are printing it. Understood? So the same, we are going to call it in the main block of the program. Here what we are doing, we are creating the object for the child class. Okay, you might ask me like, why are we always creating the object for child class and using, why are we not using the parent class? As I have told you, if you want to achieve, if you want to access all the you know pa- all the members of the class, like both the child and the parent, then obviously it is enough if you create object for child alone. If you are creating one object for parent, what you are going to do, you are going to access the data in the parent method, right? Sorry, parent class, right? So that same you can do with your child object also. So whenever, like, if you think when I want to create a class, okay, I want to create an object, then ask yourself a different question, whether it is extended by any other class or not. Why can't I use the child class object to access whatever available in the parent? Okay, if in case it is defined as private inside the parent class, that is different case. Obviously you have to create an object of it and you have to get it. Okay, but if it is going to be public, why an extra object? Okay, do you get me? So okay, let us continue here. So we are creating the R1 object for the rectangle, and we are we are calling the method get area. So this 5 and 6 value will pass to this length and breadth, and it will get multiplied, and we will get the value. Okay, we have seen the parameterized method, right? I think yesterday or day before yesterday, I don't remember properly. Okay, so this is the parameterized method. So as I have told you, you will not get any new syntaxes. Just know the relations and where you can use and when you can use. Okay, so yes, why interfaces? So as I have told you earlier, we have seen the multiple interfaces concept, right? Like one class, consider a class, one class trying to get the property of from different classes. That is not possible in the inheritance. So that case is possible with the interfaces. For example, what they are telling is, so class rectangle, here we have implements polygon. I can also if I have some polygon, I have some color interface, one more interface as color, and one more interface as something else like welcome page or whatever. You can just add comma and add the next interface name to it. So which means you can access different how to tell you, different methods, different methods of the class into the child into your single child class. Okay, So this concept we can, that multiple inheritance concept we can achieve with the interfaces. For inheritance, you will be using the keyword extends. For interface, you will be using the keyword implements. Okay. So don't get confused between those two. And one more thing is like whatever the specification that you are giving inside the interfaces, right? So you must follow it, which means like uh, see, again, I have forgotten to inform you one more thing. Okay, sorry for that. If I have told you, right? If you are, extending an abstract class, if there is any abstract method, you must override it. Do you remember while I was coding, I have told you. So if in case you are mentioning your child class also abstract, okay, in that case you don't need to mention what to say, you don't need to override the methods. You can just use whatever the method you need, or you know your abstract class is not only going to contain this abstract method, it will be containing some different normal method also, right? You can just use those normal methods until unless if the abstract keyword is not present in your in your child class, then you have to override the abstract method also. Okay, you have an option, like if you want to, if you don't want to override in your child class, you can do that by mentioning abstract in front of your child class also. But in case of interface, you don't have an option. Okay, so whenever so the thing is like whenever I'm going to implement one interface into my class, then I have to obviously follow all the set of rules. Like if they have some 10 property or 10 method, then I have to use all those. Okay, so if I'm going to have some length, breadth, and or some value, okay, or whatever the value they are getting, I have to use all those things. Understood? So you should know like when to use what. The same again. Okay, so for example, again we can take the forms example. So if you are creating an interface, like obviously you will have name, no, date of birth, email ID, contact number. This four thing, like they are getting it mandatory, right? Everywhere. If you are whenever, like just if you want to see some educational website, they are asking you to register and then you see the content, right? So those forms, whatever the forms may be, this uh, four set is like mandatory. So you can write these four property inside the interface, and you can implement this interface in the class that you are writing. So obviously what it means, you will be using this four property. You don't need to mention it again and again. Okay, even you will not forget it first. Okay, in some cases you may have we may miss it, but if you implement it from interface, it is not going to miss in any way. Okay, it is one real time use, you can say. And one more thing is the most important thing for interfaces to achieve the multiple inheritance. Okay, so for multiple inheritance, I have not written any code today due to my time constraint. Maybe tomorrow, if possible, I'll give you just 2-3 minutes, we can see the code. So what will happen is, I have told you, right? So we'll be writing two interface line and interface polygon. Okay, and we are implementing both inside one single class. So we are creating a class rectangle and we are implementing line and polygon. Understood? So this is how we are achieving the multiple inheritance with the help of interface. Understood? This is the basic syntax of it. So that's it.